My guest today is a decorated senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, representing Kaduna Central Senatorial District. He is also the chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions. He is also the governorship candidate flying the flag of the All Progressives Congress. His name is Senator Uba Sani. It's good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
You moved a motion for the Senate to support the decision of the CBN to redesign the Naira notes. Why is the support of the Senate necessary as for the Apex Bank that is supposed to be autonomous?
The Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions have constitutional responsibility to oversight the central bank and all the financial institutions in Nigeria. It's our constitutional responsibility. If you look at the Fiscal Responsibility Act, you realize that we have responsibility to even approve the budget of the central bank, their expenditure and their revenues, and all their monetary policies of the central bank must be oversighted by the Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions. These are the laws I'm quoting because, of course, we have to do our job. And when the central bank announced their decisions to redesign some Naira notes, that is 200 Naira, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes, of course, the central bank governor briefed the Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions, knowing fully that we have responsibility to oversight the central bank. But beyond that, if you look at the rules of the Senate, you agree with me that we have to report back at all times. And the only way to do that is to go back to the floor of the Senate, inform the entire members of the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, which we are representing, our deliberations, and why the central bank decided to redesign the Naira notes. That is our constitutional responsibility. So we try to do that, and the only way to do that is to go and explain to the colleagues, and I did that by raising Order 41 and 51. That was talking about the urgent matter of urgent national importance. And of course, I did that because if you listen to the responses of, if you are following what Nigerians were saying, particularly the politicians, the businessmen, and virtually everyone, some were not really convinced that the decision was necessary. But some of us that have privilege of sitting down with the central bank governor and the management of central bank have better knowledge about the decision. So it is our responsibility to inform our colleagues and by extension inform Nigerians that are not privileged. So we did that, and I am happy that my colleagues in the Senate supported the central bank decision.
Very valid point you cited there, distinguished. But one common issue that has been raised, especially by your colleagues during the debate, is the timeline that has been put on this the said intervention. Many people believe that the timeline is too short. Do you agree with?
No, I totally disagree with that position. Because, of course, my own concern is not about those who are talking about the timeline. Because if you're talking about the timeline, that means you have so much money at home. We're talking about few Nigerians that have billions in their homes. And for me, if you have billions in your home, you know how to take the money to the bank. Why can't you take your money to the bank within 2 months if your money is legitimate? You should be able to do that. And of course, the central bank have also come out with a press statement, not even asking all the branches of central bank across the country, that is the 36 states, to also open their branches for individuals that have money who might not necessarily take you to the commercial bank because of the level of with the traffic there. Maybe a lot of people have money to take to the commercial bank. Central bank said, no, we can assist. You can approach central bank branches across the country and they can assist you. For those who don't even have bank account, the central bank have opened that window for them to get to the central bank, deposit their money, they will open accounts for them within 30 minutes and their money is safe. So I don't think the timeline is the problem. The problem is that a lot of people complaining are mostly politicians like me who are looking at the timing. Some are saying, why can't you wait until after election? But why do you have to wait until after election? When the reason for this is very, very critical. We are saying we are facing the danger of people printing this currency. 500 naira notes and 1,000 naira notes have been attacked already as we are speaking. And of course, we cannot wait and said we have to wait until after elections. That means it's just to serve the interests of few people in this country. But the overall interest of our own country is more important than the individual of the few, than the interest of the few. So for me, I disagree with the time frame. I believe from now to 31st January, everyone can take his money safely to commercial banks of his choice.
So how does this translate to the common man? How would it benefit the ordinary Nigerians? How would they benefit?
Of course, it will benefit the ordinary Nigerians because one, our economy is good. The value of dollar will crash. The value of naira will increase. And the common man will benefit because the common man is suffering because our economy is bad. That is the reason. If the value of dollar goes up, everything in the market will be affected. That's why even the common man is suffering. So for me, this policy is in the best interest of the common man in this country, the best interest of our country, and I believe we should support it. Even the common man will benefit more than any other person. Because we're also going to, this will support, the financial inclusion. Because you will agree with me that a lot of people in rural areas don't even have bank accounts. So I'm more concerned about those that are vulnerable and unbanked, not the rich politicians who want the time to be extended because of election. I'm more concerned about the vulnerable and the unbanked. Those ones, we at the level of Committee on Banking are now working closely with the central bank to ensure that central bank come up with aggressive sensitization, also mobilizing the branches of the central banks across the country as well as the commercial banks to reach out to some areas that don't have banks so that we can make an arrangement to at least look at the interests of those who live in an area where there are no commercial banks so that no one suffer and everyone will be looked into and they will make sure that no one lose even 1 naira of his own legitimate money. That is the most important thing. So we are looking at that, and in the next 1 week or so, we'll work with the central bank to ensure that everybody in this country, particularly the poor people and the vulnerable, are protected. For me, they are the most important people in this country. That is what I'm looking at.
Okay, we'll take a short breather. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're still watching the Hallowed Chambers, and my guest today is Senator Uba Sani. Let's talk politics. How energized is your governorship campaign now that the court has struck out the suit challenging your candidacy?
No, I think what I can say here is that even before the court decided, I did not believe there was any problem because we had free and fair election. everyone was given opportunity, so I think I was not really worried, to be frank. I wasn't worried. But having said that, we in Kaduna State, I don't think we have any problem, particularly in this very election. Like I said earlier, in one of my interviews, that APC will get the highest number of votes in Kaduna. The only states probably we are looking at trying to challenge us might be Lagos State because of the population. But outside Lagos State, because of the population and because Aswaju is from Lagos State, there is no state in Nigeria will give both the presidential candidate, myself, the gubernatorial candidate, and all the people contesting election at various levels more votes than Kaduna State. And I have my reason. Number one reason is that our governor, Malam Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, have done more than any governor in the history of Kaduna State. When you go to Kaduna, you will agree with me that there's a lot of transformation in Kaduna. The urban renewal program of our amiable governor have really helped us a lot. We have done a lot in infrastructural development, we've done a lot in our educational development, we've done a lot in our healthcare, human capital development, agricultural development, and all those things. So these are the promises made by our governor 2015 when he was elected. As we are speaking now, even the opposition in Kaduna State will agree with me that Malam Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai have achieved virtually everything he promised. And so we are going to campaign on those achievements of our amiable governor. And beside that, some of us that are contesting on the platform of APC, we have our track records. For instance, I'm here in the National Assembly representing Kaduna Central Senatorial District in the last 3.5 years. I did something with other candidates of PDP. These are the leading parties, Labour Party and NNPP. All the three candidates were at certain times represented their own various constituencies to the National Assembly, precisely the House of Reps. And I can assure you, the Kaduna State people are even disappointed that their parties presented them, because if you look at their track records when they came to the National Assembly, none of them have ever even moved a single motion, too close to sponsoring a bill. And they haven't done anything in terms of bringing development in their various constituencies. So they have failed woefully. And in Kaduna, where people that are extremely very cosmopolitan, where people that are very knowledgeable. So our people can only vote for you on the basis of a track record. And when you look at that, the candidate of APC, from my humble self to those contesting for the Senate, House of Reps, and the State Assembly, have best track record than the other parties. So we don't have any problem. So, and that is why today in Kaduna State, we're not talking about any other parties, APC and the rest as well.
Well, Kaduna State, as you said, is a cosmopolitan state, but the recent insecurity and heightened tension in Kaduna State has sort of affected the cosmopolitan outlook. How do you hope to restore the people's confidence in security in terms of assuring them that you're going to protect their lives and property?
Yeah, like I said, the Kaduna State people have been following what we've been doing, particularly here in the National Assembly. They're also aware that the issue of security is not with the state governors, neither with the members of the National Assembly. Most of them are aware of the constitutional provisions, and they are also aware that someone like me have been pushing for the creation of state police in the National Assembly. If you can recall, because you've been covering the National Assembly for years now, you will agree with me that I'm the one at the moment that have been pushing since I came to the Senate for the creation of the state police. I had about 4 bills that when you combine them together, you will have a state police. If you look at our constitution. Of course, unfortunately, we did not succeed because we lost at the level of the conference committee. Because to amend any part of the constitution, including the creation of state police in Nigeria, you need both both the Senate and the House of Reps to sit together. And of course, at the level of the Senate, we all agree unanimously that my bill was timely, and unanimously the bill was supported. But unfortunately, we lost at the level of the conference committee. But sitting here, I still believe that the only way we can solve the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, we're not talking about Kaduna State. There is no state in Nigeria that is immune to insecurity problem. Every state has problem with insecurity in this country as we are speaking. And of course, it is a national crisis. And of course, if you look at the constitution of our country, the state governors are chief security officers of their state, but they don't control the commission of police, they don't control the military, they don't control the Air Force, they don't control the Navy, so they cannot do much. We will try our best, but we have worked closely at the level of our state with all the security agencies in Nigeria. And that is the reason why in the last few months, we have relative peace in our state. There's no much problem in security in Kaduna State any longer. Again, go and check the record as right now, because our governor have gone out of his way to even work with all the security agencies in Nigeria. And because of that, we are making progress and we are achieving a lot. So we don't have much problem in security in Kaduna State, but that shouldn't be the problem because going forward, only recently the state governors unanimously, not only the southern state governors, even the northern state governors came together and unanimously agree that the only way we can end the issue of insecurity in Nigeria is by the creation of the state police, because we are liking the boots.
Okay, you're a well-known lawmaker from the north, and we have seen you on the floor stand up in the interest of your people in your region. How has your legislative experience, helped you to grow or to impact your wealth of experience, and how do you hope to bring this into the governance if you eventually get elected as the governor of Kaduna State?
Yeah, like I always said, that's why I give example of my so-called opponents who came to the National Assembly and ended up with us sponsoring a single bill. As we are speaking here, I'm the only senator that have two major bills assented by Mr. President. If you remember, I sponsored Welfare Act, that's Banking and Other Financial Institution Act, that was assented by Mr. President 2020. Welfare Act was obsolete, and of course it was a very important bill I sponsored that have to do with the financial service sector in this country, and I'm really happy. My colleagues unanimously supported the bill, and we amended the Welfare Act at least so that it will be in line with the best practices. And of course, that is one of the major bill I was able to sponsor and Mr. President assented. For me, it was really important. And again, if you can recall, I also amended the AMCON Act, which Mr. President assented 2021. So as we are speaking right now, I have 31 bills to my name, and I probably have the highest number of bills that are progressing now at the level of National Assembly. For me, it's a very important experience. I've learned a lot. And of course, in the past, I also worked at the executive arm of the government when I worked with the former president, Uba Sani, as advisor on public affairs. So I've worked virtually in every arm of the government. And before coming to the Senate, You will recall that I also work with my governor, Governor Sir Ahmed El-Rufai, as the governor of Kaduna State. So I have the experience, I have the knowledge, and of course I will go to campaign based on my track record, like I said.
That is all on this edition of the program, but you can still follow us online to get breaking news and updates from the National Assembly. Thank you for watching. I am Tijesu Kadiri. See you next time.